Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Scots on the Run podcast, where we take a behind-the-scenes look at what's happening in McGordon College cross-country and track and field programs. In this episode, we're recapping our conference championship meet, the CNE championships that took place this past weekend. Lots to discuss from that. Carolyn, Roberts, and Ruby Furbish are going to join us in just a moment. But first, as always, Coach Miela, good to see you again. How are you doing?
Good seeing you. I was telling you guys, I had 2 cups of coffee before this. I'm feeling a little jittery, a little different. But
it's been a long week, and that's why this episode's a day or two later than we usually get these out here.
But yeah, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah?
Hanging in there, yeah.
Yeah, got through election night. This is not a political podcast, so we're not going to comment on that. Right, girls?
Right.
We told you we wouldn't put you on the spot before this, so we'll make sure not to ask you who you voted for.
Yeah. No, but honestly, it was a good day yesterday. I did end up coming out to practice.
Oh, that's right.
On Wednesday afternoon, and tapped in for one of the 1200s. So
yeah, man. 76 degrees at the beginning of November.
Yeah. See, if it had been like it was today, I feel like that's nice. That's a nice warm November afternoon. Yeah. Well, I mean, you're pushing 80 degrees the first week in November in New England. That's a little.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to go that far.
Our sprinters loved it yesterday at practice, but yeah. I know I talked to a few people because I couldn't be out at the workout yesterday, but I know a few people were maybe have a bit of a hangover from the championship. But anyways, yeah, it was our first Conference of New England championship, which is fun. The new conference, and added Hartford in there, and
well, how much of a new conference is it really? Is it just a renaming or a rebrand? Do we add a couple of new?
That's a good question.
Explain that to the audience.
It's a rebrand, I guess. We have added Hartford. I think we're adding Johnson and Wales. Don't quote me on that. I feel like that's coming. And I know that they have cross country. I don't know if they have track. I know that WNE added track this year, and in years past they've just been cross country. So the conference is growing. Like I said, rebranding itself because actually I really like the rebrand. The logo's real sharp, and I think we're trying to create a conference. The conference is trying to, I guess, be more prevalent in the New England area, not just be some kind of not talked about conference. I think we want to kind of compete with those NESCACs and NUMACs and things like that. So yeah.
I think we'll get into that a little bit later because I know you and I were having that conversation about just how much the entire conference has improved from the last couple of years here.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about that for sure. But we have Ruby and Carolyn with us today. Girls, how are you today?
I'm doing good. What about you?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
That's good. Well, reason why we wanted you two on was, Carolyn Roberts, I'm saying Carolyn Roberts because we have Carolyn Day, we have Caroline Pierkowski, and then we have our third version of Carol on our team here. And you ran your first 6K 2 weeks ago at Conn College. You ran again. So this is only the second time you've ran a 6K. It was in our conference championship. You were I believe our 4th finisher on our team, if I remember correctly. And you ran a personal best of about
24:34.
She ran 24:34. So she took about is that 35 seconds from 25:19? Some are in that ballpark, something like that. So
45 seconds, right?
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's why Ben's here for the math. So for you, I don't know, what do you think made the difference? Was it just kind of like the SAT? If you take it a second time, you're gonna do better, or is it was there something about the pacing and how it all went for this race?
Like the mileage, we had kind of a down week beforehand, and like I really feel like that made a difference because like even though I haven't been running as long as the rest of the team for like this season, like obviously it's been like a lot very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know exactly what made the difference, but I do think the more experience I get, the more like calmer I feel before because like I know I've done it before, and then also my legs just felt so much fresher from a lot of recovery.
Sure.
And the down week before.
Nice. And you kind of alluded to it. So in years past, you've played soccer. Last year you were on the soccer team. You came out to track in the spring, and this year you decided to focus on cross country. Well, I guess we kind of convinced you to do cross country. You came out early, you decided not to do soccer. We saw the potential that you had. You've been training with the cross country team. I don't know, how has that been for you? Kind of just, it's been a different fall than what you've typically had in the past. How have you liked the transition to just, really focusing on running?
I've liked it a lot. I think it's definitely different, and it's just such a different sport, I think, and I'm also starting to notice, like, the differences between cross country and track. Like, a lot of people who don't do the sport think they're the same thing, but, yeah. I really enjoyed the training, but sometimes, like, the races are longer, so it's definitely more mentally challenging.
Well, I'm sure that, your first race you ran trainers, your second race you ran spikes. I'm sure that made a big difference as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure you felt the difference there, and in addition to the extra recovery, I'm sure that made an additional difference as well. So I know we're certainly happy that you came out this year, and it's been exciting to see you grow into kind of the cross-country fit. I know that you've primarily just focused on 1,600, in high school, and 1,500 when you got here, and so doing 5Ks, 6Ks is probably, I remember seeing your face and seeing how, you're just like, I can't believe I'm about to go race this long of a race. And so it was exciting to see you kind of come through that last kind of you or whatever, and see it as strong as you were, right? And then we have Ruby Furbish here as well. Some fun facts about Ruby. I believe your PR going into Conn College was 30 minutes and 36 seconds. And then at Conn, you ran 29:30, so you took 66 seconds off there. And then this past weekend, you ran 28:22, which is another 68 seconds. Right? So that's 2 minutes and 14 seconds in 2 weeks. So that's significant. I think a lot of people try to do that in an entire college career, let alone, at the tail end of their sophomore season. So I don't know, what do you think's made the difference for you coming down the stretch here?
I think the thing that has made the biggest difference for me in, like, my college training is just the consistency and in the workouts. Like, I don't think that anything changed in those 2 weeks. I think I just was, like, starting to see the results of the work that I've been putting in all season. And then also just, like, having the support of the team, I felt a lot more confident, like, going into those races, and I had more confidence in my ability because of, like, the workouts that I had, and also just, like, the team continuing to encourage me throughout the season.
And this is what I love about Coach Luco, is that it really does feel like the workouts that we do, they really translate, right? For the most, I can't remember a time where Coach Luco really put our team in a position where, like, we're doing a workout, or he's given you guys a race plan that is, outside the realm of possibility of what you could achieve, right? And that's what I love about working with him, is I feel like I could ask him just about anything in terms of anybody on the roster and say, like, hey, what do you think this person could run, this Saturday? And he's pretty good at saying, well, what I'm seeing is X, and, this is probably what they could run. And there's just that direct correlation of, this is what I did in a workout, which means this is what I could do in the race, right? And it's cool to hear you say that the workouts kind of built that confidence for you, and because, again, that's what they're there for, and I think that's what's great about the way our training is set up. So that's good. I did want to ask, what you guys thought about, we didn't get a chance to see the course before racing on Saturday. What'd you think of the course? Overall, do you have overall thoughts on it, and was it challenging to kind of just show up and race?
I really liked the course. I think it was definitely more challenging than the other. Well,
the only other course you raced. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like a lot of tight paths in the woods, and there were like a lot of like just random potholes and stuff like that. Like, it was different terrain, but it honestly was like really fun because you were more focused on like foot placement, and you really had to like hone in on where you're running and where you are like in regards to the competition. Yeah, I thought it was fun, like it was super windy too, so, and honestly, it was kind of entertaining. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I agree. I really liked this course. I think it felt like a pretty fast course. There were a few parts that were more challenging, like there was like this sandy patch coming down one of the hills that was a little rough. But overall, I really liked it. And I liked going through the woods. I thought it was kind of fun because I got to like be a little more competitive, I feel like, and like I could really just focus on like
just pushing people over, getting,
Right,
exactly. You're getting real aggressive with people out in the woods when nobody's looking. Right, exactly. Yeah. I know what happens in the woods. You're right. I get it. No, that's great. I love to hear that, and I was curious. I haven't actually had a chance to really talk to a lot of people specifically about that, but you guys both felt like it was a fast course.
Mm-hmm.
Even with all the turns and stuff, you still felt like you were able to run pretty fast on it.
Yeah.
That's good.
And I'll tell you what, Ruby, I just pulled up T-First here because I was trying to remember. I know you were dealing with some injuries last year. I don't have anything before the Battle of North Shore this year, so I guess does that kind of technically make you like a redshirt freshman? Did you get to run any cross-country races last year, or were you still fighting the injuries?
Yeah, last year I got injured like in my second week of training, so I didn't run any races last year.
We got you out in track.
In track I did, not in cross country.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and I think I've told you this before, but just the fact that you've come back so strong from those injuries, that's a victory in of itself. And then to look at just how far you've come over this season here with, as Coach Miela just said here, what was over 2 minutes from the start of the season, your first 6K to where you ran this past weekend is nothing short of incredible.
Yeah. Well, and last thing I want to say, since we're talking about Ruby here, is I remember how beat up you felt and looked after the Brown Bear Invitational. And, and we talked about it, like, we didn't have a lot of people run great that day. I don't know. I mean, I think it was a hard part of our season in terms of training and stuff. But I remember talking to Coach, I've talked to Coach Luco about that specifically because when somebody's really beat up, it shows that they care. It shows their desire to get better, right? And from that point, right, that was, I don't necessarily know if that was you would call that a turning point per se, but it really was kind of, for a lot of us, like, okay, let's dial it in the last month of the season. And sometimes in these really high moments, these really good moments, it's good to look back on it and be like, hey, remember like how hard that was? And then be able to say like, because we continued to press on, we stayed consistent, we were able to have those breakthroughs. So I wanted to make sure I shared that. That's pretty cool to think about. But.
Yeah, so just looking at the rest of the meet, I guess we can start with the women's 6K.
Yeah.
And Rachel Brennan now a 4-time champion of the Conference of New England, or former CCC.
Sure.
And Carolyn Day also coming away with a top 5 finish. So, Coach, I guess those are going to be the two. I mean, we know what Rachel can do, and obviously, she's getting ready for nationals and everything. How do you think Carolyn, as well, is shaping up in the regionals and her goal to ultimately make nationals as well?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can't have a conversation about Gordon cross country without mentioning Rachel. Obviously, got to give her credit. 4-time champion. It doesn't happen often. I think Tassie will do it on the men's side. Obviously, I don't see why he wouldn't at this point in his career. But, the fact that Rachel's done that is very impressive. Carolyn Day, she's also a 4-time all-conference runner. I believe she went, in her 4 years, she went 13th, 9th, 2nd last year, and 5th this year. So she got 2 top 5 finishes in the last 2 years. Yeah, Carolyn had a big PR. She PR'd by 25 seconds, and really encouraging to see. She dealt with some injuries over the summer. She's had to cross train a ton. The fact that she's as fit as she is coming into our regional championship, it's really exciting. And as we were just talking about, our workout this week was a tough one, but 10 days out from your regional championship, you got to kind of give your body one more hard stimulus to make sure it's prepared and ready to go, right? So I'm excited to see what she can do. I was talking to her earlier today, and I just told her, I was like, I don't want to put any expectations on you, but I certainly, I have a lot of belief in your abilities, right? And so I'm excited to see what she can do. I don't see why she can't race to to qualify and at our regional championship. And so yeah.
And one of the things that we talked about after the race was just how much our team had improved from last year when we finished fourth in the conference. And yet, despite all of that, the women's team finishes fourth in the conference yet again, which again I think just speaks to how much we got better, but everybody else in the conference around us got better as well in the last year or so.
Right. Yeah. It was Ruby, she didn't race last year, but you were there. It was certainly a warmer day at our last championship, and it was at our home course, which you could argue was probably not. I mean, again, it sounds like it's not as fast as Western New England's course. So, even with all those things being said, we had 8 runners run faster than what our 4th fastest runner ran at our conference championship last year. And if you would have told me that, you have Rachel and Carolyn coming back, plus you're going to have these 6 people run faster than what Kaylee ran last year.
Kaylee being one of those 6, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yes. But still, you're going to have people that are faster than, I think Kaylee ran 25:52 that day. We had 5 girls run under 25, I believe it was. And, last year we only had 3.
6 of them.
We had 6 under 25.
Yeah, Molly was.
That's right. Molly got
Kaylee,
under
24-40. Yeah.
So it's just kind of like one of those things. If you would have told me these things at the beginning of the year, I certainly would have thought. I would have been shocked if we would have been 3rd. I definitely think 2nd was in the realm of possibility. Suffolk was going to be tough to beat no matter what because they had a few transfers. The girl who got 2nd, the girl who got 10th, both transferred in just this past year. So, be nice for us to get some of those transfers every once in a while. But that's tough to overcome. All those things being said, we still scored 76 points. We scored 76 points in 23. We scored 76 points in 24. We got 4th in 23. We got 4th in 24. So it has been driving me a little nuts. But our team average time improved by 52 seconds. And if you took our average time and our total time and ranked it this past year, we actually were 2nd overall in average time. It's just the way the placings shook out over the course of the entire race that we ended up 4th. Again, UNE was in front of us by 2 points. They got 3rd, and then Roger Williams got 2nd, and they only beat us by 9. So in a cross-country race, that's a pretty darn close race. We like to throw out good statistics, right? And so I think as far as the women go, I really want to make sure I say there was only 2 teams to compete at least 5 freshmen. That was us and UNE. And if you averaged out all the, where those freshmen placed on each of these teams, and I only took UNE's top 5, the freshmen on, our team would have averaged the highest finish. So again, that's just another thing. It's like if you would have told me we would have had one of the strongest freshman classes, and I really thought the final result would have been a little bit better, but I certainly can't blame this team at all. We improved by an average of 9 seconds essentially just on Saturday. In the last 2 weeks, the women's team improved by an average of 28 seconds from their personal best. So, we're running almost 30 seconds faster than we've ever ran. And that's the kind of culture that we want to build, where people are just focused on improvement and just getting the best out of themselves. And we're pretty satisfied with the effort, but the results didn't go our way, and that just happens sometimes,
Yeah, and then on the men's side, the team took 6th overall, and we had another individual make all-conference honors barely by, 35 hundredths of a second,
0.35, I think it was, yeah.
Josef Schultz just squeezing in there in 15th place. What did you think of his? He has a really strong kick, obviously.
Yeah.
He had to have that to get this result on Saturday.
And what was impressive about him is I still think he started out maybe faster. He still had the kick even after starting as fast as he did, I guess, is what I was really impressed by, because there's different points in the course where you could see, and I was counting it, because I knew Josef was our best shot to have someone finish in the top 15 and get all conference. And so at different points of the race, I was just pretty much yelling at him like, hey, you're 14th, hey, you're 20th. And he was having those moments where he was going up and down. And then I knew, again, like I said, like you said, I should say, I knew he had that kick, but I also didn't know if he was going to have it this time. I guess it's just one of those things. Like I know he always has it, but I'm just waiting for the time where he just doesn't have it. But no, he finished really strong. He passed a ton of people in that last, I guess, 300-meter stretch or so. He shaved 64 seconds off of his best. Taking his last year, he ran 28 something. Do you have that in front of you?
28:53.
He ran 28:53. He ran 26:26 this past year, or just this past weekend. And again, so it was a faster course. It was a nicer day to run, but he ran 26:26. Our top finisher last year on the men's side ran 26:26. The only difference is Josef got 15th, and last year 26:26 as a time would have gotten you 4th. So a little crazy to kind of think about those differences. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's the course, maybe it's the conditions, but man, we love that guy. We're really proud of the progression that he's had. Another big jump was from Evan Hand, who's a freshman he struggled with some health things this year, and he took 1 minute and 50 seconds off of his best 8K this season. So that was certainly a pleasant surprise to see him come through in the biggest moment. We're actually, let's see, we ran 4 freshmen. We could have ran 5. One of our freshmen was at his brother's wedding. So yeah, so we're really proud of how that group stacked up against other freshmen as well. Especially had we had PJ, I think we would have stacked up really well amongst probably one of the stronger freshman classes as well. So we're excited about the future, and yeah, just how tight knit this group is, and I'd say how tight knit it is on both sides. I think it's real encouraging for the years to come.
So, looking ahead, not this weekend, but next weekend, we'll take our top 7 to regionals, and then we'll have nationals after that, I suppose.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah. Well, Rachel for sure.
Yep.
We'll see who else the times that they need to hit here. But what are you looking forward to as we get ready for those over the next week and a half or so here?
Well, the research I've done as far back as I can go, I haven't seen us finish higher than 12th. We got 12th last year on the women's side. So that would say we've never had a top 10 finish, again, as far back as I can see, on what T-First has for us. And it would be, I think it'd be tremendous to see us really, I think UNE is a team that we can beat in a bigger race like this. So my hope is that we can they might have got us at conference. I'm hoping we can get them at regionals and be a top 10 team. I look at this women's team, and I truly believe that they're a top 10 team in this region, and I just want them to show that to everybody else, And then our men's team, I think we're just hoping for more of the same. Like, I think they've ran really close, really tight knit, and I want to see more PRs there. And like I said, I think it's a both and, right? Like, we want to see us do as well as we can this year, but we want the experience of racing well and like competing on a regional stage because of how that's going to set us up in the future, because we're really excited about how this group will progress year after year.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing how we perform in a week and a half here. And thank you all so much for listening, as always. We'll be back after regionals to recap, hopefully, a top 10 performance for our men's and women's teams.
Let's make it happen, man.